Hello.
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 Thank you all for being here.
For having us. Hello,
yeah.
everyone. I'm around there as well. Right. Wow. Hello.
I mean, so how are you all feeling having the clearing out in the world? How's it been? How's the reception felt for you and getting this project out?
It's amazing. It feels great. We worked really hard at this record and we're really proud of it. I think this one is, for me, feels like kind of the most strong exemplification of how much we love the craft of songwriting, and we really wanted to kind of pursue that as much as possible. It was really fun limiting ourselves a little bit, which is kind of one of the starting points. We made an EP called Blue Lullaby after Blue Weekend, where we deconstructed our third record, and I think that kind of informed a bit of what we did this time. So we just chase excitement, and this time we kind of were trying to we wanted something to be cohesive, and when it did start to get there, it was really exciting. So then the next thing was when we were finished, we were just like, get this fucking thing out, but it took ages. But it's out now, so that's great, and we're all here at the National Sawdust.
I know that the documentary Get Back was sort of a kind of a jumping point, I guess, in terms of rethinking your songwriting, rethinking kind of how you wanted to work on this next album. If you can talk a little bit about that and also the origins of the early songwriting for this album.
Yeah, I think when I watched Get Back, I was like, I feel like I was kind of inspired by how familiar it looked, in the sense that the Beatles were just so famous, they don't even seem like real people, you know. And I was just taken aback that they were so nerdy, and they were just like four mates just having fun in a room, and there was no formula for these songs that they were making. They were just together, just trying things out, and I was like, oh, I'm really excited to just not overthink things, just get into the room and play with the guys. And yeah, and that's what we did. We just got a little room, and like we had nothing in the room really. We had a big sheet of paper, basically.
Your dad gave us it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why my dad just came with this big scroll of paper and was like, okay. And we wrote all the lyrics and the chords down on that, and all had our guitars, and you had like a toy drum kit, yeah.
The room wasn't really big enough to do even that in. It was like a tiny room, and we couldn't work out how to turn the computer on. So we just had this piece of paper, like Elise said, that was like the instructions for us to play, and then I got this tiny little drum kit off, I can't remember where I got it. I mean, yeah, we made a few of the early demos and stuff with just like one microphone in front of this tiny drum kit, and then we liked the sound of it, and actually we ended up like showing Greg like that was kind of like a bit of a sonic kind of accident we found that we stuck with, especially on Safe in the World.
Showing Greg Kirsten this fucking shit tiny drum kit, and he's like,
can you make it sound like this? He was like, yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
I mean, how have you felt that your songwriting processes have developed over the last, over a decade of being in a band together? You know, what has changed? What have you felt has become easier or more sort of, grown up and matured in that process?
Good question, yeah. For me, like, I feel like a little bit, I used to kind of sit down to write a song and like finish it, and that'd be like, that's that done. I kind of forgot that you could be like, you could return to it the next day and be like, maybe I'll make it better. I don't know. I just kind of thought they were like born out of you, and then that was that, and you didn't have much choice. I don't know. And this time around, I was like, wait, I could practice and maybe or I could try some other chords or something. So, that was the thing that. And like I said, sometimes you don't want to overthink it, but this time around, I was kind of like, maybe I should maybe think about it a little bit more.
And I know this album is so much a celebration of your own songwriting heroes and the craft of songwriting. And I'm curious, or is there a single great song for each of you that you really look to as like a North Star, or even a songwriter that exists for you in that way?
North Star, that's a really nice way of saying it.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I mean, Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell's come up a bunch of times before this record as well, but there's a lot that you can be inspired about from that record. I think with the sofa we used it because of the nature of how the strings kind of fit with the acoustics, and like it's kind of like a break beat. It's kind of so far ahead of its time, and the emotions. That was definitely a song we mentioned a bunch.
There was a band called Pentangle, which specifically one live performance. I can't remember the name of the song, which is terrible.
It's Wedding Dress.
Wedding Dress. There you go. That we watched a lot, and we was really fascinated by this. We were enamoured with this one performance of that song by that band, and that kept popping up, which was quite an interesting one. I think individually everyone's probably got their own North Star songwriters that are maybe not necessarily clearing versions of, but yeah, this was more referential musically than any other album. I think we've chased abstract things or been inspired by a piece of literature or a film or like literally a feeling, being like, I remember Don't Delete the Kisses, we were talking about what that feeling is when you can hear the tent at a festival in the distance and how exciting that sounds. And so explaining that to a producer is a nightmare. You know? And this time we were like we were really inspired by specific songs and crafts. And I think you can kind of hear that on this record more.
Yeah. And Ellie, did you have one?
Not my North Star. I think like maybe this is quite random because I don't feel like I hear a lot of him in this album, but I was thinking a bit about Damon Albarn, how a lot of his work, I was really interested in some of his songs to me that wouldn't sound out of place in like musical theatre, but they're produced in a way that would never, that doesn't scream musical theatre to me. I was kind of, like his kind of, his melodies, and almost quite show tuney in some ways, but then he's known as a totally left field kind of rock star or whatever. So yeah, I'm interested in people whose work, the melodies are melodic enough to be in like show tunes or whatever, but are left field.
And Greg Kurstin was already brought up, and he's of course such a great songwriter and producer in his own right. And I'm curious, what that collaboration looked like. What did he sort of bring to Wolf Alice that maybe you didn't feel like you had found before, or maybe wanted to unlock with someone like him?
I feel like one of the great skills of a good producer is not necessarily imprinting everything you are as a musician or as a producer, but getting the best out of the people you're working with to make the record they want to make. And Greg kind of, when we were with Greg, there was probably a moment where maybe we were all second guessing whether we should stick on this thing that we'd been working on for so long, and this sound and this kind of vision for it. And he just listened to us, and he was like, we can achieve this if you want to, and we can even improve we can reach for the stars of it, And that's what I thought was so great about working with Greg, is he was just calm with us in the studio. We're not like jazz musicians and stuff like he is. He can play everything better than we can, but he didn't want to. He wanted us to do it, and that's what makes him very special, I think.
Yeah, fair. And I know that he's such a talented pianist, and I know playing the piano is such a big part of the songwriting process for you all, and part of making these, and kind of what makes so many of these songs just so grand, even in their sound. I mean, tell me about that instrument in this particular album's environment.
I think it's fun to switch things up for yourself as a musician, and playing different instruments that you don't normally play can change your songwriting and just keeps things fresh for yourself. So the piano was really fun this time around, and it kind of opened my eyes to new chords and progressions and stuff. Like I said that like this was the first time like I started using black keys. Like I've always just use the white keys. So
maybe we are jazz musicians. Yeah, I was wrong. Sorry.
And I mean, I want to talk about, especially with the track Thorns, the idea of really poking fun at yourself almost for the absurdity of this idea of putting your pain into a song and then making this really grand song about that. I mean, tell me about sort of processing that type of feeling, that vulnerability that you're putting into a song about something really painful that's going on, and kind of how that feels when you put it out into the world.
like in Thorns, like repeat the question.
Oh yeah, for the song,
Sorry.
for the song Thorns, I mean, just the lyrics about like maybe I'm a narcissist and
Oh, yeah.
and yeah. I mean, tell me about sort of analyzing your own songwriting in that way.
Yeah, I think like with Blue Weekend, maybe some of the songs were just like really personal and sometimes it's hard to sing like because they just remind me of things and it felt I was suddenly a bit like why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through this? Um, and then and kind of Thorns kind of explores that, and then it was just stupid because then I was like, and now I'm gonna write a song about not, and then I was like, I can't stop. So, but I think like this time around, maybe just letting go of not everything has to be like totally true to the experience. Like you can fabricate and to make the song better, and that's freeing. And also I think like just wanting a little. I feel like Blue Weekend was like there was something a bit anxious about it, and this album we really were like seeking pleasure and joy, and that doesn't mean all the lyrical content is like hard to run necessarily, but yeah, it was nice, like especially in today's world, just like to try and like just find something a bit more like a playfulness or something, in this album, which maybe was it's in our other work as well, but maybe more so.
Yeah, it was more like the driving force of this song, wasn't it? Sense of play.
And was that sort of playfulness kind of sort of visible even early on in sort of the songwriting, where you just felt like that was the place that you guys sort of felt the most comfortable in terms of writing this album?
Yeah, I think it was definitely something that we discussed. I think I've watched bands or seen artists with both of you, maybe separately, where we've been like, it's amazing when someone is able to use humour.
Any other time it would have been fine to use that word.
It's like such a bad use of that word.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
But like, it's amazing how it kind of like, oh my God, all my analogies are like fighting. I was going to say it kind of sucker punches you emotionally, but like, because it's so disarming to be made to laugh, and then also the thing is like unbearably sad or something. Yeah. And it's a really wonderful technique in songwriting. There's a song, Passenger Seat, on the album, which I think you had the kind of germ of years and years ago, and wasn't it your brother who was like, what happened to that?
Yeah, he's like, this song's, it was just a verse really, and he's like, you should finish this, and it was like 10 years old or something. It took 10 years. It doesn't sound like it took 10 years.
It was funny because I can hear the humour in some of those songs. Yeah. Like there's something about The Sofa, which is some of my favourite lyrics Els has ever written, that are like disarming in that humorous way. I find that really appealing.
And I know, Joel, this is on the album White Horses is the first song with you singing lead in a decade, right?
I did sing
Round of applause.
I did do a bit on the first one. Yeah, thank you. No, I did a bit on the first album. There's a song called Swallowtail, and I sang a bit on that. But then on this record, I sing the verses, and I duet the rest of the song with Els.
Yeah. And I mean, tell me a little bit. I know that's inspired by your family, and what made the song feel right for you?
Oh, the song felt right because when I brought it to the rest of them, they wanted to work on it, and that's kind of how like Wolf Alice sometimes works. You can have something very personal. You share it to your best friends. They're like, yeah, let's get this to the point you want to get it to. So that was really special, and it is about my family. I actually saw a quote which I keep forgetting from the singer from Big Thief of the Day, and they were mentioning how like on her new album something that's so personal that you feel like no one's going to get it, but actually the more personal you look inward, it can become quite universal. I think it was my attempt at doing that. I was looking quite literally at things that have been said to me in taxis or things to do with my sister, and then where I live, and like I go fishing sometimes where I live, and they always say like when you're fishing, like if you see white horses at the tips of the waves, it's like you're meant to return home, and there's all these like personal little things that was just like feeding into this same kind of feeling about your chosen family, my chosen family, who are here, and it all became quite self-referential, but actually has kind of a universality to it, I think, when you look that much into yourself, I think. Yeah.
And to bring it to something that Ellie had mentioned earlier about sort of having this new process of wanting to really kind of spend days with a song and kind of really sink into it. What song ended up sort of taking the longest for you all to really perfect and get right?
I think recording is different. Writing for me was I think when I was writing Play It Out again, it wasn't because I didn't know what to do. It's because I was just like, I can just take my time with this. And like, yeah, and it was really out of my comfort zone a little bit because it's very piano-led. And so I was just like, I'll just take my time. And I just chipped away at it. It was actually a really nice way of writing. I don't know why I don't do that all the time. But recording, I think, Bloom Baby Bloom, we tried loads of different... Oh, no, was it? Or maybe Bread Butter Tea Sugar.
A minute. No, the sofa was the last thing, right?
But it wasn't the
Yeah,
longest.
but it didn't take the longest.
Oh, right.
I'd say Bloom Baby Bloom, like, because that song is a batshit anyway. It's like quite weird, like I love it, but like to get it right was like sometimes there's things in there which are a bit like, if it's like it was kind of the structure, just like it was literally like how does this fit together and do the right things. So I do think we spent hours being like that bit goes there. No, I think something else.
Yeah, but then you're right. I remember the first time I heard Play It Out, the demo, and I know Joff thought the same. Like, we just heard it, we're like, there's nothing more we can do to this. It's just perfect, what he'd written.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, what were sort of, especially with something like Baby Bloom, where it sort of becomes this really complex and sort of so many different parts, what are you all sort of most proud of sort of achieving in sort of the production and the recording of these songs for each individually or even just as a band?
Good question.
I feel like lots of things really, but yeah, I think we had a vision, and normally, like Theo said, we kind of like let's go into the studio, see what, we don't just see what happens. Like we do always have some kind of vision, but we had a bit more of a precise vision, and maybe it's not what people thought we would do, but we really wanted to do it because we really at the time of writing and making and hearing like the kind of music we really loved this kind of music, and we wanted to make this kind of music, and we did, and I really feel, especially with the production, I feel like it really sounded exactly how I imagined it was going to sound, and it took a long time, but I'm really proud of us because I feel like it sounds exactly kind of how I thought it was going to sound. So that's great.
I mean, you all are so notable for your live performances. I mean, tell me how that factors in, if it does, in sort of the songwriting and recording, the kind of high energy that you guys are bringing to a live show. Do you think about that when you're writing a song?
I think it feeds in. It's kind of the nature of what we do. We're very much a band. We go out and tour for a long time. But I think the way that we were chasing energy within the music, excuse the use of energy, it sounds like I'm about to get a crystal out, but like the way that we were responding, like when you're younger, you maybe do something that's a little bit brattier and maybe more distortion heavy. And one of the amazing experiences about Blue Weekend is some songs like Delicious Things and Last Man on Earth. It was such an incredible feeling of energy exchange between a crowd and us, because people were singing along. And it's like, whereas sometimes we would have an instrumental, rocky, heavy chorus, I think our curiosity was piqued a little bit by that, and how we can let the songs do the work in the live environment. Not to say that we're just passive robots playing stuff, but like, if you come to the show, we're not. And I was so excited about that. I was so excited about the idea of songs that people sing along to. Like, hopefully, obviously that's a bit narcissistic to say, but like that was really exciting to me.
Yeah,
I don't really remember what I'm talking about anymore. I've kind of...
Well, I think what you were talking about was true.
Okay.
But yeah,
cool.
like when you start off, you're playing pubs with like 6 other bands. You got to fight to be heard.
It's got to be loud.
You need the loudest song you can have to be remembered. And then the things change, and you're like, actually, you're playing these performances of people or coming to see you for certain reasons, and you can kind of, like Thea said, I remember when we started playing Delicious Things, like full transparency, I was worried that people wouldn't be like, oh, just play the greatest hits, that's what we want. But no, that was the song that people were like chucking their beers in the air for, and it was like a light bulb.
In England, you chuck beers. So dumb.
At us. But yeah, so your opinion's just, And I think we were a bit fearless about that this time round.
Yeah.
We weren't like, it's just different energy, like Theo said.
It's not to say we won't do that again as well. Like I feel
it's not
people keep getting at me being like, "I ain't got no distortion pedals anymore" or something.
Yeah.
I still like them. I'm just doing something else.
I mean, even, especially on this record, I mean, just listening to Ellie's voice from this one and listening to the early albums, I mean, you could sort of just really sense just how much stronger, and from even just playing these shows and singing, it just has become such a great sort of like weapon on these records. I mean, especially a song like Bloom Baby Bloom. I mean, tell me about learning to use that in recording, and kind of, maybe if there feels like there's a difference for you even just from the first album or even from the last album to The Clearing.
Yeah, I think just I'm lucky because we tour so much. I've practiced, and just I understand my voice a little bit more now through playing, singing so much on tour. And I also noticed that every time, even us guys, when we do when we're doing an impression or a joke or something, I'm always like, wow, that was if you do an impression of Frank Sinatra or something, I'm like, that was amazing. Why don't we do that in normal, as ourselves? And I was kind of doing impressions of other people's voices, and I was like, oh shit, there's so many more different ways I can use my voice. I don't know, yeah, just learning. I just learned a bit more about my voice as an instrument, and it was fun.
And I mean, how's it been? I know you just started the tour, but how's it been playing these songs live for the fans, and then being able to fit them into your live show?
It's great. It's a unique thing to have 4 albums to get that show and hit all of the different eras of things, and it's been a challenge at the beginning. Obviously, Joff is not with us at the moment. He's at home, our guitar player. He's having a baby, and which is amazing. And we were kind of arrived here, and we had the big show, and we were ready to do it. So it has taken a minute to quite get the energy right. But I think I really feel like we're getting there now, where it's what we want it to be. And it's quite fun and theatrical, this one. I feel like it's a real show. And yeah, it's some of these songs. Just Two Girls, I love playing live. Yeah. It's a nightmare for me, but I love it. Yeah.
And I mean, just over the course of your career, I mean, what are some really big pinch me moments for each of you in terms of maybe meeting heroes or playing specific festivals or venues, things like that?
I mean, every time we get offered to play Glastonbury, I'm like, really? That's so cool. They asked us back. Wow. I'm not doing. I do. I'm always like,
it's really nice.
It's such a thrill, and I just wait for all our friends to text us about tickets. Yeah. But I mean, we played this year, and that felt pretty special. Yeah. The sun was going down, and we had a bubble machine. And when the bubbles exploded, smoke came out of the bubbles. Yeah. So that's a career high for me.
Why did they fill with smoke? It's really...
Yeah. Were they meant to fill with smoke?
I don't know.
For the first 2 seconds, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, oh, they're meant to do that. Okay. And it just kept going.
I love Queens of the Stone Age. As a kid, it was one of those bands that are just kind of they hit all the nostalgia points, and they were I wanted to play guitar because of them. And I have a Queens of the Stone Age tattoo. And Queens of the Stone Age asked us to open up for them on tour. And day 1 of the tour, I'm like, fucking hell. And then I also realised that their security guard is the same security guard as the 1975 security guard, who I really pissed off on the 1975's tour.
We love him.
He's really nice. Mark Dawson, he's great. We're good friends. But and I was like, oh my God, I'm having my pinch me moment, but I'm now scared. And I remember basically concealing this tattoo the whole time, because I was just like, I don't want Josh Homme to see that. I'm like, why is this guy supporting us and he's a fan? I don't know what I was just freaking out. And anyway, they were just amazing, and they kind of watched when someone comes to actually watches your gig and doesn't leave after 13 seconds, you're like, wow. So that whole thing was pinch me.
Well, I don't. This is a bit niche, but I remember when we played, I think it was the first show we played with Harry Styles. It was at a stadium. Yeah. So obviously it was huge, and the crowd started going like this to one of the songs, and I was like, that's so nice. I don't know if anyone prompted them or anything, but I was like, really nice. Yeah, and that whole tour, just like because it was just post-COVID, and like, yeah, just really brilliant crowd, and it felt really like a new experience for us, where we've like, you know, done lots of tours now, and you kind of feel like you're gonna feel something similar each time. It's still amazing each time, but I was like, oh, this is a new feeling, so that's cool.
And I mean, you described the writing process of this album being in this room and then going to the studio. Do you guys find yourself writing on tour at all, or do you find yourself working better, sort of, kind of stationary and after being off the road?
You have written things on tour, haven't you? Like, with things that have slightly come to fruition, but...
You have.
And you have?
And you
have
have.
you? I think that's the question. We all have.
It is tricky though, like, because you do this for so long, and like the nature, we don't want to not release music more often. Like, I think we actively want to, but it's quite hard to like. It's just hard to like. You have to get yourself ready to to write and do all those things. Like anyone, like I can imagine it's similar. You like, and when you're like upside down coming off the tour bus in Philadelphia looking for the shower, and you're trying to like, you know, because you sometimes wake up and you feel a bit upside down because you've parked on a hill. So it's what I'm trying to say is it's quite hard to write on tour, but we do sometimes.
You can't write upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, I can. I don't know about you lot. I'm always writing upside down. The end.
And I mean, you know, especially watching each other grow up in the process of this. I mean, watching each other especially play and perform live and write songs together. You know, I guess what's sort of been the coolest part about watching your friends kind of grow up on stage next to you and watching each other become better musicians, better songwriters, better in the studio and on stage?
Yeah, it's amazing, really, to be honest. Yeah, feel really proud of us all, that we, you know, like, we're not lazy, and we like enjoy challenging ourselves, and we enjoy trying to improve. I mean, when we started, we were pretty fucking bad, so it wasn't hard to improve, to be honest. But I'm really proud of everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me and Theo met when we were like 15, and we wanted to be in bands and stuff like that. And Ellie's songwriting has always blown me away, and it's just better and better every time. You get like a new batch of demos for a new record. I'm like, whoa. So that's always just a pleasure, you know.
And is there anything that you're super excited about for the rest of the tour, and also for the rest of your year, kind of getting the clearing out into the world and sort of celebrating it for the rest of the year?
I'm excited for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's coming tomorrow night? 2 people. 4 people. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, I am.
Yeah.
It's, you know, there's certain moments that are exciting, and tomorrow is one of them.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun putting the show together. I've been really like, we're not able to do the same production here, but we are making it as theatrical and kind of like cinematic as we would aspire for it to be, and we're using different constraints just because of the nature of touring in America compared to where we are. So we have that to come at the end of the year in Europe and the UK, but I'm trying to be grounded and present, and I'm excited for this in a minute and also tomorrow. That's it.
Let's have a round of applause for Wolf Ella.
Thank you.
People up there.
We see you.
Oh, wow.
We are going to take a few moments to get ready for them to perform live for you all. So sit tight, grab some drinks, and we'll be back in a minute.
Get loads of drinks.
Yeah, you're going to need it. All right.